All right, we don't get Michael Irvin very often, but when the Cowboys look as good as they have looked this season, we bring in the Pro Football Hall of Famer, 3 Super Bowl rings. Okay, I want to start with this. Is that it was when McCarthy was in Green Bay and he got let go, the feeling was, Aaron needs a better coach. Well, all these years later, right. I look at McCarthy, I'm like, this is Dak's best year. The old line has had injuries. They're good. You start looking at Dallas at home. Dallas is a favorite. Mike's teams have always had some penalties. I can live with that because Super Bowl champs have had penalties. But I think it was very easy for guys like me to beat up on him and take Aaron Rodgers' side. And this is not a shot at Aaron. But I'm watching this Cowboy team since the bye. This is coaching.
Right.
This is the best Dak has ever been. Ferguson now. Cooks. Pollard, like this feels like a well-coached team.
And it is. And one thing, Colin, that you bring up that I want to try to emphasize a little bit of about the job that Mike McCarthy has done, because I was a little bit side-eyed early on when I heard, we want to play more complimentary football. As he was delivering how he was going to pull Dak back earlier in the season, he said, we want to play more complimentary football, get more defense, get more run games in here. To help our defense, take our time, maybe longer drive so the defense can have rest. I thought, okay, he's really talking about playing complimentary football. I was baffled and confused when he was like, you're the number one offense. You've been the number one offense. Why would you want to stop being that?
Right.
Just bring everything else up to the number one offense. But this is what I realized he was doing. Early on, what was crucial was to keep those interceptions of Dak down, because it would have become the whole mantra of the season had he started early with interceptions. So by keeping them down, and then at that point, after they lost to the 49ers, I remember I sat down and interviewed with Dak, and he said, hey, we reevaluated. We're going to cut it loose from here on out. And I said, what does that mean? I remember texting C.D. Lamb. So what does that mean, man? What are y'all saying? He said, we're cooking with fire grease now. That means we're ready to go, and we're putting the ball in the air. And ever since then, they've been taking off. So the whole idea early on of not throwing the ball all over the field to make sure those interceptions don't pile up was brilliant.
Well, yeah, because the narrative was Dak is done. There's too many picks.
And that's what the narrative would have been had he started out early doing the same thing. So I was like, wow. And now they're cutting it loose, really cutting it loose. I said, this is really brilliant. And now we're not stuck with that narrative of interceptions being the mantra carrying you into the late part of this season. I thought that part was brilliant coaching.
So I like Dan Quinn a lot. He's aggressive. Last night, the officials decided they were going to call everything. Are you concerned at all with the defensive performance? By the way, they were calling them on both sides.
Right. Some crazy calls.
I didn't like any of it. But are you a little concerned with Dallas's defense? Got burned a few times.
Yeah, they did. But I knew Dallas had the proclivity of giving up plays like that. They do. They have that, like the run game. If you're in a solid game where the other offense is not playing from behind, they can run and they can get yardage. DeRon Bland, everybody's talking about how he got attacked, and yes, he did get attacked, but in the end,
they played well at the end.
In the end, he made a play by intercepting the ball. I don't want DeRon Bland to change because each of those plays, he was there. He was there. He learned something that I think is going to help him with the big fella he got coming up in 10 days, A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
On that slant route, that early touchdown by D.K. Metcalf, DeRon Bland tried to grab him around the waist. Now, a smaller, lighter receiver, that affects his route, that little tug around the waist. But at 6'4", 240, he just ran right through that.
That's right.
Don't try that next week with A.J. Brown.
Right.
He's going to run through it.
Right.
You learn something. I don't mind you got beat because the process is you need to learn.
Yeah.
And you need to learn these things. Every one of those plays, he was right there. DK just made great plays.
Yeah.
So I still want him to do what he does. Stay right there, stay in that fight, and keep doing what you're doing. And he got a pick at the end of that game.
I will give you some credit.
Yeah, give me some Jordan Love credit.
So I have been a critic of Jordan Love.
Give me some Jordan Love credit. I couldn't wait to come back.
But one thing we did like is that the receivers are young, he's young, so generationally.
Great growth.
Brady didn't love the young kids. Aaron,
Right.
LeBron doesn't.
Right.
Once you got the rings, you don't want to be a mentor and teach
Right.
kids how to play.
Right.
The last couple weeks, your guy Jordan, he looks way more confident, right?
Right. And he looks like he's getting settled in on his offense. And I told you, when I told you when it was a couple weeks ago, I was like, I just look at a few things that tells me, do I stay on this fight? Did he earn the right for me to stay in this fight for him? You know, each young quarterback, each week, Justin Fields, each week is trying to go out and earn the right for the Chicago Bears to stay in his fight.
Right.
If not, they're going to say, hey, we're going in another direction.
Right.
But Jordan Love has earned that right with some of the things I see. I said, man, that looks like Aaron Rodgers. You know, in some places.
He moves well.
Yeah, he moves and he throws off different platforms so you can see him making the plays. I really like, and what I love, I remember hearing the story about Coach LaFleur called him and he said, listen, we're thinking about, I know we were going over this one play we want to run early in the game down the sideline. And he said, I'm thinking about changing. And Jordan Love said, don't change it. No, let's run the play. Let's run the play. They ran the play, and, of course, they got a big reception in the play.
Right.
I said stuff like that matters because now when you start giving input and they're taking input, then you feel more of a need to make sure the play happens. That's what they call taking ownership. You're taking ownership, and he's taking ownership of that team. Him and that young Watson is going to be hell to deal with for some years.
Yeah, and this is a big game because now it's Mahomes. Now, I mean, this is big TV game, so it's different than playing the Chargers and the Lions.
And our eye gate going to measure you against Patrick Mahomes, who happened to be, lucky for you, having his worst numbers of his career.
Right.
Yards per game, yards per play, per pass catch.
This is a big game for Jordan Love.
Right. Jordan Love can really step up and people can say, man, you as good as Patrick Mahomes when you win this game.
I remember when Goff faced Mahomes on Monday Night Football. Remember that? And Goff played great.
That was an incredible game.
And it was like, okay.
That was an incredible game. That game was like 50 to 50, 500 to 502, whatever that score was.
But it sold the organization.
Yeah.
Okay, Goff can go toe-to-toe with great ones.
And that's what he...
Even if Jordan loses, if it's 28-27 and he's spinning it, everybody's like, we got our guy.
We got our guy.
These guys are, this is a big moment. Okay.
Because you're right. There are two things. I want you to show me that you can run this offense, Jordan Love. And then your next level, show me you can play with them guys. Because that's what you got to go up against. So you're right. Those are the levels.
Okay. So I've said there's something about Jalen Hurts, the intangibles, the toughness.
Off the charts.
He has been inconsistent, but he's been great tied or trailing. Brock Purdy has been great leading. He has not shown he can be an overcomer. How concerned are you with Jalen Hurts, though? There is wild, like Dak this year, there's no inconsistency. Jalen is wildly inconsistent first to second half. What does that mean? Does it concern you?
No. And I always say this here. When you're winning, the whatever we're looking at or discerning, we just call them flaws. They're just flaws. They're flaws that people like you and I can point out about these teams, but ultimately the team is winning. It's just a flaw. They can work on it all week from a winning standpoint. When you lose, then those flaws become issues and problems. And issues and problems will get you fired and going home.
Get distorted.
Right. Because now you're losing with that. It doesn't work that way. So what we've noticed is the flaws in the Philadelphia Eagles. But no matter the flaw, he was flawless in the record book. He found a way to get his team over the victory line. I say talent shoulders down is a great thing for us to measure. Talent shoulders up is a very difficult thing for us to measure because it's leadership. It's that intangible thing that you have that no one else has, that he has, that very few people have. He is the heart and soul of a football team, Jalen Hurts. And that leadership is it's incredible because late games, late plays in every game, he's going to be there. And that's why they're 10-1.
Do you like him this weekend?
I said this earlier, guys. I promise you, in all my years of being around the game of football, I've never been more vexed to make a pick than I have been with this game right here, this San Francisco Philly game, because Philly it's going to take. I was telling people what what I was saying to all the guys as we go ready to play San Francisco back in '92, our first NFC Championship game, and we weren't supposed to be there. And we were like, man, I can't believe we're here. And we all said if we got to this place, we're not going to lose. Before the game, I went around, talked to all my guys. I was tapping their hands. Hey, our motto, death before defeat. We were ready to die before we left that game. I said, death before defeat. Death before defeat. Yeah. Death before. You see what I mean? I felt Philly had that in that Buffalo Bills game. I said, boy, they playing like this. When you saw a 400-pounder run across the field all the way to run down Josh Allen and then laid out, he wasn't hurt. He was exhausted. That's a death before defeat kind of mantra. It's going to take that to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. But San Francisco, they'll have that. So I got Frisco winning the game by 3 points. The hardest decision, the hardest I ever had to make.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.